up to $2.2 billion in payroll. In other words, people getting paid for working, a couple $billion as a result of what this team of people have done for the state of Ohio. See, we're starting to win. You just read the articles in the paper about maybe Sears looking at Ohio, huh? I mean, I don't know that that'll happen. It's pretty exciting. You know, in the past, see, the way I look at it is, for many, many years now, we've been selling hot dogs up in the stands. Now we're wearing a uniform and we're on the field and we're getting a chance to bat. And that's where you want to get yourselves. Now, issue 2. Well, first of all, everybody in Ohio ought to be pitching in. You know, everybody ought to be part of the solution in our state. You can't have a group of people that say, I don't want to pay. I mean, how can people pay zero? Some people pay zero for their health care and zero for their pension, which means, sir, you pay twice. Once for yourself, your family, and once for somebody else. That's just not fair. That is not the fair thing to do. But there's another part to this. If you cannot control your costs, did you hear what happened down in Lancaster? I'm told...
Kitchen house number 3, shut down.
How many firefighters did they lose?
14.
14, he says. And my understanding is that those public employees down there don't pay zero for their stuff. Is that right?
Well, I don't know that.
Okay.
But just because you say that, yes,
yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that we should check. But if you can't control your costs, you've got 2 choices. You either have to start laying people off, which we have done a minimal amount in balancing our budget. You know, we didn't fire 10,000 people here in Ohio. We worked and made tough decisions in Ohio. Or you raise taxes.
Governor, they have a levy on for the firehouse.
Okay, so you keep raising taxes, and what happens? Businesses say, well, wait a minute, this is getting to be awfully high. And so they go find another place. The way you create prosperity is to create an environment so people want to start a job. And let me give you a couple things what that means. Talking to the owner here, we're talking about the river. He says, well, I don't know if the Department of Natural Resources has blocked our ability to use this river. I said, we're certainly going to find that out. Because if we're not making laws that have common sense, rules and regulations that don't have common sense, we're going to get rid of them. Right. Now, if they make sense, we're going to keep them. But we're going to have them be strong, not weak, and clear, and not fuzzy. But we're not going to over-regulate. We will regulate when it's necessary. And if somebody poses a threat to the health and the safety, we'll regulate them out of business, okay? But for most people, it's common sense. Don't come in here and harass me when I'm trying to create a job. So we created an environment to, yeah, you can clap on that. The second thing you want to do is keep your taxes low. Because taxes go right to the bottom line. And if your taxes are high, you'll go somewhere where the taxes will be lower. I mean, it's just the way it works. Thirdly, you got to train people. And I want to compliment the Zane State folks. From what I can tell, they're kind of on top of things over there, training people. And we hope they're training them for this shale development that we might see, you know, because we're going to have, we think, a lot of wellheads out there. And I don't want any foreigners working on the wellhead. And those are people... What I mean by foreigners are people from Pennsylvania, Indiana, West Virginia, okay? And we'll have some in the beginning, but we got to train our workers. And we have to make sure we have a trained workforce, which means a reformed education system. It means training people for jobs that exist, and we're in the middle of all that. So if we can pass issue 2 and let people know that they share in this solution. There's a book out called Boomerang. It's a pretty interesting book. It's written by a guy named Michael Lewis, who wrote Moneyball and The Big Short and a lot of things. I have that book. It's in the car with me. They talk about this problem of binding arbitration. See, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to have somebody from Los Angeles fly into Zanesville and impose a wage settlement on you that you have to pay, and then they're on the plane back to Los Angeles. What the heck kind of a system is that? And how did we ever create a system that if you hire a new teacher and that teacher is the teacher of the year, If there's a shortfall in the funding, that's the first one to be fired because they were the last one hired. I mean, come on. We're talking about our children. We want the best and the brightest out there. So that all this is encompassed by issue 2. So you need to tell your friends, because the campaign against this has been driven almost purely on emotion. And, you know, emotion's powerful when you got emotion versus the facts. Now, if you go out and tell people what's going on here, they'll get it. So we have a lot of work to do here in the last week. And, you know, the good news is, as a result of this issue and this fight, people are more aware of the situation. Wage demands have been moderated. They've been more modest, which has helped our local communities to control their costs. And that's very, very good. And, but we have a long way to go. And Ohio has a long way to go. But you know, because of our location, because of our people, all of you, me too, I'm now I'm an Ohioan. And when we think about our natural resources, with a great healthcare system, natural resources underneath the ground, when we look at the ability that Ohioans have to make things, which is related to manufacturing, and we're beginning to see that come back in our state. Just last week up in Toledo, 2.5 months ago, there was a company that announced they were moving out, taking 800 jobs. I was up there on Friday to say we now have a company taking their place that's going to provide 500 jobs, okay? This is the way you come back and fight. Why does it matter for us to win all this? Well, I think first of all, it's important for Ohio. We're the heart of it all. I mean, we know that. We also know that we have a value system here that's really important. Common sense, God-fearing, a hard day's work and a good day's pay. People know our brand across the country is we've got common sense. And in many areas of this country today where we sometimes wonder, where's the common sense? We got loads of it here in Ohio. We got this great location. We got great size. We're winning. I want you to feel good about what's happening in this state. No more of the old political nonsense, a new direction, a new chart. Now, for many years, you have gone to things, events, and you've heard politicians talk about what they were going to do. I hope you're getting the sense that with your new state rep and Andy Thompson and Troy Balderson, this time it's for real. And we will not only improve our state, but we could be a role model to those folks in Washington and maybe in some other states about the fact that you do the right thing. You boost the families, you help the kids, you strengthen the community. That's what it's all about. Focus. We're getting there, folks. We need your support and your prayers. Together, we'll get the job done. Thank you all very much.